Your reasons for listening to the show, well, those are your own. But just keep in mind that the views, information, or opinions expressed on the Tuddle Daily Podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of our sponsors. Yeah, it's called free speech, people. Nobody's forcing you to listen.
Get ready for your daily dose of Tuddle.
The all-time greatest intern/producer we've ever had, of course, Tuddle. Tuddle in Florida.
From the Hobo Fish Camp, it's the Tuddle Daily Podcast.
No wonder nobody likes you, Tuddle. Everything's a goddamn debate.
Greetings and welcome to another edition of the Tuddle Daily Podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed your weekend. Hell, I know yesterday was Monday, and I do apologize for not being able to do a show yesterday. I wanted to start off just a little fresh, a clean, slate when it comes to after my dad's memorial party that we had this past weekend. But before we get into all the content, make sure if you have a chance, and you haven't already done it, go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Tuddle. Make sure you subscribe and hit that bell button, because when you hit that bell button, you're going to get alerted to any time I go live or upload any new content. There's also a couple of ways you can get a hold of me. You can email me, tuddle@gmail.com. That's Tuddle with two D's, Tuddle @gmail.com. Or you can leave me a voicemail, 407-270-3044. Now, I gotta admit, I was kind of looking forward to this past weekend, and I kind of wasn't. I was ready to get over it. I was ready to get past it. I don't want you to think Tuddle's just, going to get over his dad's death. No, that's not the case. But now the healing can start, kind of like a dual memorial service. And I got to thank everybody that came out, my personal friends, Howard and Derek. It's funny as you get older how you meet new people, you meet new friends, you lose some, you gain some. And Howard and Derek have always been there for me. Cannot thank them enough for showing up. I know that it had been in a while since they had talked to each other, and they sat there and they BS'd with each other. And then I had Colton and Richie come out, drove all the way over from Tampa to be able to be there that day. Was very, very helpful, helped us move everything back. Got to thank my Uncle Jim and Eve, my Aunt Eve. They're not both uncles, but that would be kind of cool if I did have transgender uncles. And I just got to thank my Uncle Harold for coming out. It was a great, great time. I got up there. I didn't get to say everything that I wanted to say. I had a bunch of stories, had a bunch of stuff going on, and then it kind of changed a little bit. Me and my Uncle Harold kind of tag teamed the whole thing. He asked people to come up and say a few memories and stuff, and then I would jump in and ask questions about stuff, stories Dad would tell me, about my dad chasing my Uncle Rick with a butcher knife, and my grandmother having to stop him. Just stuff like that. And then I got into the main part of my speech, what I wanted to say. And everybody has that one relative that is just oblivious and just will not shut up. Just kept talking and talking and talking. And I don't want you guys to think I was just up there speaking with my regular voice. Well, I mean, what else would I be speaking with? What I'm trying to say is that I was on a PA. I had a microphone. You could hear me above everybody else, but this one woman would not shut up. And this is how oblivious she was. In the middle of it, I was like, all right, I'll just wait. I will wait for whatever is more important than me to memorialize my dad and my Uncle Rick. Did not even recognize that I was talking to her and just kept going. You know what I did? I was like, I could have made a scene. I could have said, shut the F up. I could, there's so many other things I could have did, but I did not. This wasn't about me. It wasn't about her. This was about my dad and my uncle that had died 8 months previously. So I just went right through it. A lot of people thought that it was a great speech. You know, I've been talking for pretty much my whole entire life. Actually, I've been talking more my entire life for a living than what I have, than what I've been alive. And I was terrified about that whole entire thing. I really, really was. And it was just nice to be able to get it over with. And then we went out to one of the other pavilions where, like, maybe the younger generation was hanging out. And we maybe, you know, had a couple of, hog leg joints, if you know what I'm talking about. And that kind of relaxed everything. Then we came back over here to the Hobo Fish Camp, did a little bit of fishing. It was kind of funny. My friend Richie, we call him Big Dick Rich. I think I can say that. I don't think I'm going to get demonetized for saying that. But man, shit, Ramona was like all over him. Not all over him like sexually, but was just like, I bet it is short and fat, but it's like a Foster's can. And I'm horrible at doing impersonations, by the way. I just almost sounded like Arnold Schwarzenegger trying to talk about Richie's penis. But that was a fun time. Then probably left about 7:30, because this was on Saturday. And then I wanted to be over in Tampa, hung out with Colton on Saturday afternoon, and went to bed pretty decent because I had to get up the next morning to meet with Serak, because I was going to the Tampa Bay versus the Miami Dolphins, the Bucs-Dolphins game at Raymond James Stadium. And I got to tell you, Jesus, holy Christ, Serak lives in like one of the most exclusive neighborhoods in all of Tampa. And it took me like 15, 20 minutes just to get into the place, because I was driving a Ford F-150 that had a toolbox on it, and they were like, oh, you know, you might be a contractor here to do work, you know, it's the weekend. They're not. And I said, man, I promise you. And then he looked in the back. He was like, oh, you got a bunch of fruit in the back. Well, yeah, I had a bunch of fruit in the back because they were plantains that I was bringing to my friend Addie, who is the owner, creator, inventor of Lavender Moon ice cream, which will be out really, really soon. So whenever I come over to Tampa, I bring a bunch of plantains. And when I mean I had crates of plantains. So he finally lets me in. We sit there, me and Serak, we sit there and watch a little bit of Dave Chappelle's newest special, which I will get into about the blowback that I got from some of the comments from the closer incident, talking about transgender, talking about the same rights that protect you as transgender are the same rights that protect Dave Chappelle to be able to say whatever he wants. And I got so much hate for that. It's crazy, the cancel culture. So me and Serak, we start walking out of his neighborhood, which is an island. Serak lives on an island. So we were walking out of there to meet his two buddies, and we get in the car because we didn't want them to have to wait to be able to get in. And we get there, and we end up parking at one of Serak's friend's house. And when I'm telling you, the guy from the Friday movies, Tiny Zeus Tiny Lester, or whatever his name is, this is how big this dude was. And we ended up parking at his place, and then we had to walk down the same street that the Morgan & Morgan building is in, where Bubba and them all park at all the time. So we get down there, and I got to tell you, it was one of those moments where, especially that I don't drink now, that I felt so out of place. I did. I felt out of place because Serak is a frat boy. Serak is a straight-up frat boy. And I'm going to call him out later on today during the 11 a.m. show. But, man, like, I learned a lot of stuff. I got to tell you, the food was amazing. Like, they cooked jalapeno peppers wrapped in bacon. See, that's how you know when you're getting older that you're more occupied about the food, and also that I don't drink anymore. Like, people were throwing me drinks left and right, and then you wouldn't believe all the dirty looks that you would get. You'd be like, nah, I'm alcoholic. I can't drink anymore. I wish that I could, but I just don't know how to do it in moderation. So then they were like, all right, they did this twice. They did it at the beginning of the tailgate and then at the end because it's like tradition. I've never been one of those people that needed to play games to drink. Like, I've never, ever, ever got it. Like beer pong, okay? I don't get beer pong. Like, if you make it in somebody else's cup, they got to drink. But what if you're playing against somebody that's absolutely horrible and they can't get the ping pong ball in your cup and you're just wanting to drink? No, thank you. Just let me drink. But then they were playing this game. It was called Thunderstruck, and it was about the song Thunderstruck by AC/DC. The na 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 thunder. Na, na, na. I don't even know if I'll get like copywritten for even like recreating it. But every time, so they're in a circle, it's about 10 people, and the first person starts off as soon as they say thunder, and you got to drink the beer until they say thunder again in the song. And then it just keeps going around and around and around. And then there is one point in the song where it's nothing but guitar. There's no thunder being said, and you never want to be that, from what it seems, because I've never seen this game before. From what it seems is that you don't want to be that guy, because I saw one guy get absolutely S-faced and like hammered. Like, it was one of Serak's buddies. He had to drink like 4 or 5 beers in a row because that's how long it took for them to get around to say thunder again. And they did that twice, and I was just like, all right, now, I mean, that seems like an okay game, but back to what I was saying is I don't need a reason to be able to drink. I would want to be the guy that got caught with the long stretch of the thunder not being said in the song. So then we get to the Bucks game. We finally get up there. We're trying to find, well, for one, Serak wanted to find one of those hats that had like the little round like circle around it because he wanted to protect his neck. I got to tell you, Raymond James Stadium, and it's not like I've been to a lot of NFL stadiums, but it has got to be by far one of the hottest stadiums in the NFL. You got to remember, in the state of Florida, usually the wind blows east to west during the summertime, and this time of year, it just blows east to west, so because we get the sea breeze. But they built that stadium north to south. So what I'm trying to say is where the openings are, you're not getting much wind coming through in that stadium unless it's blowing out of the north or blowing out of the south, which it hardly ever does. And then this was also a 1 o'clock game. I'm a Miami Dolphins fan. Really haven't been that much into the NFL as of late. And then after it started to become, man, I'm so glad I got vaccinated. Plus, I've got this weird ass like suntan where the mask is kind of blocked out on my face a little bit. We went down to where the pirate ship was at halftime. Worst mistake ever. I swear to God, like I'm one of those guys that thinks about every situation. And when you're in a very, very crowded area, once again, wear a mask. I will be a testament to getting the vaccine, because if I don't get the coronavirus, being in that crowded area, I don't know where else I could get it, because I mean, I feel fine right now. I take my vitamins every single day, but it was a crush. I started having a panic attack because it just, everybody was on top of everybody. Nobody was moving. A couple of people ended up fainting from heat stroke, which completely roadblocked everything. And then the cops were just sitting up on the pirate ship, not really doing much of anything. They weren't doing any crowd control at all. And I just said, Serak, nope, sorry. I am getting out of here. I cannot be in this type of situation. So we went back up there. The Bucs ended up blowing out the Dolphins after a while, and then I just started paying more attention to the cloud cover. Like, I was taking bets with people that were around us. I'd be like, I bet that cloud gives us about 5 minutes worth of shade, and then we would time it. Once the sun would go behind the cloud, we would take bets on like how long the sun would be blocked out for. Yeah, that's how hot it was at the game. So then we get done with the game. We're leaving, and Serak and his buddies are like, "Hey, let's go get something to eat." And I was like, I was fine with just going to one of those little roadside vendors because I got some of the food there before, which is completely illegal. You're taking your hand or life into your own hands when you eat from one of those roadside vendors, because not like they're getting like checked out by the health department or anything like that. So I ended up getting a burger. I put some Rage, because I love barbecue sauce on a burger now. I know, like, I ate bad, but I did weigh myself today. Matter of fact, I actually lost weight. So I don't know what the hell's going on with that. I'm sure that it's going to end up catching up to me. But no, they wanted to go out to eat. Then we went to this one place. I forget exactly what it was called, but they ended up having some drinks there. Then we went over to this one like street taco place, and I will admit their tacos were absolutely amazing. I had like a seared like small little street taco, and that was great. And then I got some audio. That Serak is actually editing up, because it was about 3 minutes long, but Serak and his other buddy ended up getting into the biggest fight, because one is from Ohio, the other one is from Michigan. That's like oil and water, because, you know, you got the Ohio State Buckeyes, the Michigan Wolverines. I mean, it's one of the biggest rivalries. It's like Florida State when it used to be at the top of, when both teams were doing well. And these guys were just going at it with each other like hardcore. And like, I thought they were going to come to blows at one time because we got stuck in traffic because I guess they were having like a lightning preseason game. And we ended up stopping, and we were stuck in traffic. The guy got out of the car, wanted to like challenge Serak. I was like, but I did have my camera ready, because I was definitely not going to be missing that if it did happen. So we ended up getting back to Serak's island that he lives on. Like I said, one of the most exclusive, exclusive. I don't know. But we get back there. I ended up going out the back entrance so I could avoid all that traffic. Ended up getting back to Colton's, I don't know, probably about 7:30. And then, man, I got to tell you, even though the Rays ended up losing and are now out of the Major League Baseball playoffs, that game, that 13 inning game that they had the other day, was one of the best baseball games that I've ever watched in a while. Like, it was back and forth, and then it just became a pitching duel. I knew whoever ended up losing that game was going to end up losing the series, because they just went through so much pitching. And then baseball has to come up with a different rule. I don't know if you saw it. Everybody knows what a ground rule double is. It's where like, the ball will bounce and maybe go over the fence, or get stuck under the fence or something like that, and you throw your hands up, throw your hands in the air, wave them around like you just don't care, and that's a ground rule double. But, you know, everybody remembers that famous video of when Jose Canseco played for the Texas Rangers, and he was playing center field, and he was running back, and he ends up getting hit on top of the head with the baseball, and then it ends up becoming a home run. Yeah, that is definitely a home run. But then at Fenway Park, they got those short little fences in right field. One of the weirdest field dimensions in all of baseball. I know I'm getting really, really technical, but the ball bounces off the top of the wall, hits the ground, ricochets, hits the player in the chest, and then the ball goes over the outfield wall. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, that should be a home run. No, not a home run, but they need to change that rule because, like, if that doesn't bounce off the guy, you're almost maybe looking at an inside the park home run because of Kevin Kiermaier, fast as hell. He already had another, I think, I forget what the guy's name was, but he was fast as hell too. And then you would have gotten 2 runs there. I think you possibly could have. But now, so what baseball is saying is, oh, it's okay. What keeps somebody from making it look like they accidentally threw the ball over the outfield wall just so it's a ground rule double? Because the Rays got nothing. Dog piss Willie out of that whole, turn of events. And it was deflating. And everybody said, oh, well, even if they would have gotten one run off of that, the Red Sox ended up hitting a 2-run homer, and the Red Sox still would have won. Maybe so. Maybe you're right. But at the same time, baseball is a game of momentum, and just scoring that 1 run could have deflated the whole Red Sox, and the Rays could have gone on to win. Then they could have went on to win last night. So what I'm trying to say is baseball needs to go back. I love it when something happens in professional sports that has never, ever happened before. And they got to go back to the drawing board and come up with new rules just because of that one single play. So what I'm trying to say is, yes, I know a lot of you guys don't like hearing me talk about sports and stuff, but I was just telling you some of the great things, the great sports weekends I had, and my dad's memorial party, as well as learning that Serak is nothing but a frat boy and loves to play drinking games. So the last show that I ended up doing, I ended up talking about the Dave Chappelle newest special, talked about me and Serak actually watching a little bit of it. And this is not me talking about it again. This is me just wanting you guys to read some of the stuff that was said to me just because of the opinion that I had, okay? And remember how I said that I had a friend, Alyssa, that I knew that's transgender? Well, I guess not friends anymore. But I ended up writing, I wrote, I support transgender rights, but I also support and value the First Amendment that Dave Chappelle is afforded. So I do not see a problem. And then Alyssa writes, if I'm being honest, as I've been with you in the 23 years I've known you, turn trans people into an online debate, and you can do it without me as a friend. Now, was I trying to, I wasn't debating, I was just saying whatever I had on my mind. And then she writes, the First Amendment isn't a free pass for hate speech. Actually, it kind of is. Like, you can say all the hate speech you want to, as long as you are not going out there and actually harming people. You damn well know that. No, I don't know that. And asking me to come on your show to talk about it in Texas is a pretty S way to treat a trans person you claim to be friends with. Some things aren't show content, Patrick. Hey, all right, well, hey, Alyssa, I call you by what you want to be called, all right? So here, I know this is a little bit of a stretch, Alyssa, but I call you what you want to be called, and just because you know my real name, I love it when people think that it bothers me that you know my real name, which is Patrick. I'll say it again, Patrick, not Tuddle, but I call you Alyssa, which your real name, well, you're not your real name anymore, but your name before that was Alex. Okay, so what I'm trying to tell you is now it's officially your name. So you kind of got me there. So it is your God-given, well, not your God-given name. It is your name now officially recognized by the United States of America. I can't say that. So you know what? Let's back up from that one. You got me. But for the longest time, I was calling you by what you wanted to be called. No. And then I love how people write all this stuff. They go all the way overboard. No one's sending him to jail. We were just calling him an a-hole, and that was out of line and can do real cultural harm. The First Amendment gives him the right to say whatever he wants. It doesn't mean we should have to all tolerate. No, I'm not saying that you have to tolerate it. I never once said that you guys have to tolerate it. But, you guys are kind of proving Dave Chappelle's point by saying how you guys just want to cancel culture if somebody doesn't agree with you. And then somebody wrote, Alexis, I don't know about this person. I don't remember you being this ignorant when you worked together on Orlando City stuff, but I've been wrong before. And then I wrote, I support transgender rights, but I also support the freedom of speech. Dude, your privilege is showing. You might want to go check yourself. What type of privilege do I have? Like, seriously, I would love to know what type of privilege I have. And I love how, like, I was very, very polite and everything when I was talking. But then somebody named Joanna the Fearless writes, oh, effing stop it. Stop hiding behind a goddamn amendment when you know there are no consequences to his kind of talk. Exactly. Not hiding behind an amendment. I'm just saying this same amendment that protects him is protecting you. Freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of religion, freedom of press, yada, yada, yada. But, I don't understand why we cannot have debates in this country anymore. Cannot have conversations. If you really want to talk publicly about and support trans rights, then talk about the effing consequences when hate goes unchecked. Okay. Just because Dave Chappelle gets up there and says all this stuff and somebody goes out and does something, that is on them. The last time I thought that, I never once heard Dave Chappelle go on and say, go beat up transgender people. No. Never once ever said that. And then Alexandria Marie, New York said, F you, dude. Dave Chappelle, you spelled Dave Chappelle, is anti-everything trans folks stand for. You support him. You don't support us at all. Okay, see, this is also another thing that I don't get. Why is everything got to be black and white? No pun intended there. Why can't there be a gray area where I can support both? But no, you can't. It's either one side or the other. To quote the Beatles, or come together right now. Yes. Instead of us just cursing and yelling at each other, if we would just sit down and have a conversation, which that's why I tweeted that out there, because I wanted to be able to get to understand why people were so angry about this, because I'm not trans. So please explain it to me. Once again, there's a couple of ways you can get a hold of me. Tuddle@gmail.com. That's Tuddle with 2 D's, Tuddle @gmail.com. Or leave me a voicemail, 407-270-3044. We are effing dying, but ha ha ha. We are just one big effing joke, ain't we? As long as his free speech isn't infringed on, then you're good. F off. I don't know how to answer that. Like, I'm very sad that there is a lot of physical abuse or hate crimes against transgender. I absolutely despise it. But once again, I never once heard Dave Chappelle get up there and say, go beat up transgender people. Matter of fact, I have done my research on this, and there is that transgender comedian. I can't think of it. You got to remember, I'm recording this all on my phone, so it's kind of hard for me to go from screen to screen to screen to screen while I'm recording. But he told the story about the transgender comedian that he brought up on stage. The one, do you realize how big of a deal that is? And if Dave Chappelle was anti-trans, do you really think in a million years he would have let a transgender comedian open for him? No. It would never have happened. And she defended, see, I'm using the right pronoun so nobody gets mad at me. She defended him on Twitter, and guess what? The transgender community turned on her. And guess what? She ended up committing suicide because of her own community turning against her just because she was defending Dave Chappelle. And guess what? I stopped the recording so I could go and actually look and find out. But Dave Chappelle is backed by family of late transgender comedian Daphne Dorman from The Closer. It didn't take long for Dave Chappelle's sixth Netflix stand-up special, The Closer, which dropped early Tuesday morning, to have critics and some fans shaking their heads by this afternoon. The 48-year-old was quickly taken to task by the LGBTQ community for wadding into controversy surrounding rapper DaBaby and all that la-da-da-da-da. Let's also get into the part. See, I'm looking for this. And as he began to close the show out, Chappelle launched into a story about his friend and fellow comedian, Daphne Dorman, a transgender woman he struck up a friendship with after bonding over their shared humor and their ability to have an open conversation about identity. He had previously referred to their friendship in his 2019 special, Sticks and Stones, and credited Dorman for defending him against similar admonishment after some of his jokes in the set were labeled as transphobic. The crowd let out a slight gasp when Chappelle stated that Dorman had taken her own life in October of 2019, a few weeks after sticking up for him online. I don't know what the trans community did for her, Chappelle said, but I don't care, because I feel like she wasn't their tribe. She was mine. She was a comedian in her soul. So what I'm trying to say is, Chappelle finished the show by declaring he'd be hitting pause on jokes about the LGBTQ community until he and the LGBTQ community could both be laughing together again. I'm telling you, it's done. I'm done talking about it, he concluded. All I ask for your community with all humility, will you please stop punching down on my people? And while some voiced concern that Chappelle may be using his relationship as a cheap get-out-of-jail-free card to validate his earlier line of commentary, Dorman's family believes there should be no offense taken for certainly aren't. Two of Dorman's sisters told the Daily Beast they were outraged in suggestions that Chappelle's set was transphobic or derogatory towards the LGBTQ community, saying that they wanted to make it clear that they supported the comedian. Daphne was in awe of Dave's graciousness. Dorman's sister Becky wrote in a text, she did not find his jokes rude, crude, off-coloring, off-putting, anything. She thought his jokes were funny. Daphne understood humor and comedy. She was not offended. Why would her family be offended? Dave loved my sister and is an LGBTQ ally, Dorman's younger sister Brandy added in a text message. His entire set was begging to end this very situation. At this point, I feel like he poured his heart out on that special and no one noticed. Brandy wrote in a separate Facebook post, what he's saying to the LGBTQ family is, I see you. Do you see me? I'm mourning my friend in the best way I know how. Can you see me? Can you allow me that? This was a call to come together that the two oppressed factions of our nation put down their keyboards and make peace. And guess what? It did the exact opposite. It did the exact opposite. And that is a sad, sad commentary on everything. So for all you people that want to throw me hate and just straight venom and try to get me canceled, if you guys just listened instead of becoming so defensive, because everybody, it's just jokes. Jokes cannot be too offensive. That's just the First Amendment. And don't give me that BS. You know what? I'm going to say it. Don't give me that bullshit that the First Amendment is only when the government is trying to, stop you from saying what you want to say. No, don't give me that stuff. Because the community, which I do believe in, the invisible hand and controlling stuff, but Jesus Christ, people, when is this going to stop? We are more divided now because you guys want to keep carrying this stuff on. And I don't even know if I'm going to get in trouble for saying you guys. I'm just saying you group of people, all groups of people. I'm not my people, black people, Mexican people, lesbian, gay, trans, whatever it may be. Just relax, people. Just relax. Before I go, I want to talk about a little bit of a temporary, schedule change. Well, it's not even going to be a schedule change. It's just going to be a personality change. And I want to say that I have nothing but the utmost respect for Charlie and Lamo. I think Charlie and Lamo is funny as hell. I don't want anybody to think that, oh, Charlie must have done something to piss me off or anything like that. No, me and Charlie have been texting all weekend long. But Charlie is going through some stuff right now, and I don't think it's my business to be able to talk about it. But he's going to take a little bit of a break from the 11 a.m. show, and Charlie is welcome back anytime that he wants to come on when he's ready and willing. I know that he had a relative just recently pass away, and I'm being very sympathetic to what he's going through, because he really, really helped me out tremendously when my dad passed away, and he was there to talk to me anytime. So I don't want anybody in a million years to think that there's anything wrong or there's heat or anything like that between me and Charlie and Lamo, because there's not. There is not. But people are in the 11 a.m. show. We're not going to be able to play audio or anything like that. But so now, Serak is going to be the newsman on the 11 a.m. show. He's going to read the stories, and I'll be commenting. He'll be commenting. And then I'm going to be doing the daily audio podcast, which I apologize that I did not do any content yesterday, but I plan on get back on the brand new schedule. And then at 8, I will be doing the Tuddle Daily Podcast live stream. So nothing is really, really going to change. I think Charlie makes me a better broadcaster. I work very, very well with Charlie, and it sucks, but I completely understand. And I am Charlie's friend first before I am a fellow broadcaster. And I'm always going to be there for him if he needs anything at all. And I'm going to miss him. But I'm sure, and I hope and pray to God that'll be back. Anyways, guys, once again, if you haven't done it yet, go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Tuddle. Subscribe and hit that bell button. Give me a thumbs up. Matter of fact, guys, if I'm just being honest, I know people don't like commercials, but try to watch as much of the commercials as you can, because I do get paid more if you guys watch more of the commercials. So what I'm trying to say is, help me out. Help me help you. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed today's show. Hope you guys stay safe, and I will talk to you tomorrow.
And that's the show for today. Thanks for listening to the Tuddle Daily Podcast. Hey, don't be a dickhead. Do us a favor. Like, share, and subscribe to the show. Also, check out the Tuddle category at 315live.com. The Tuddle Daily Podcast is brought to you by Starfire Transport, StitchYouUp.com, and PocketPairClub.com. Special thanks to show producer Vulture and co-host Serak. Show voiceover services brought to you by JCVoiceover.com and The Little Cheese Show. Download and subscribe to The Little Cheese Show everywhere podcasts are found. If you want to help support the show, go to paypal.me/TuddleOnTheRadio. You have something you want to say? Tuddle@gmail.com, or leave a voicemail at 407-270-3044. To follow all Tuddle social media, go to Tuddle.net. That's Tuddle with 2Ds.net. Thanks again for all your support, and we'll see you tomorrow on the Tuddle Daily Podcast.
I get ignorant in normal situations.
What? What you mean?
What the fuck you mean?
What are you talking about?
Nigga, what the fuck is you talking about?
Oh, shit!